Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Connecticut at Your Service. My name is Carmen Nieves, and I serve as your host. And we come to you live each Tuesday at 6:30, where we feature individuals that are making a difference in the community through their work and the way they lead. And today is no exception. My guest today is Pam Lewis, who's the executive director of a program called Connect Us. And it's a youth leadership program that puts together events, helps youth find their voices, and she is just a dynamic person with, I'm not going to tell you how many years of experience, but she's fantastic. Pam, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Carmen.
So tell me a little bit about Connect Us, and I want to know about your history because you've served and worked with youth for a long time.
Well, thank you. Well, we founded Connect Us in 2017. And as you mentioned already, we have 3 core programs. One is our youth leadership team. We just finished meeting recently, and we have our Connect Us Academy. The youth leadership team is for young people 15 to 25, and they are the heart of Connect Us. The youth leadership team helps us produce everything that we do, including our annual Martin Luther King Day show and the events that we have for another program that we do called the Connect Us Academy. And the Connect Us Academy is for young people 16 to 21. In that program, young people learn how to write resumes, interview for jobs, public speaking. They get placed in paid internships in the summer. And it's so important that young people learn professional skills, because without the professional skills, they don't have a shot at having a successful professional life.
And I've been through some of the workshops that you do, and there's one workshop, and you'll forgive me that I'll ask you to tell me the name of it, but it's really about how do they look and how do they present.
Yes.
On the outside and how they feel on the inside, and actually, do you call it a costume? What do you call it, an interview costume?
We do. We use the language of performance. My background is in theater, and so I tell the young people that I believe that life is a performance, and that we have to make decisions on how we're going to respond to things based on what we want to create with others, and not be reactive. So if someone bumps into you on the street or in a hallway at school, maybe it's their fault, but you could say, "Yo, man, what's your problem?" Or you could say, "Oh, excuse me, my name is Pam." And you never know where that might lead. And the thing about theater, good actors use improv. And improv is all about taking offers and building with them. So if you approach life as a performance and you think about improvisation, so much of life you have to learn how to improv. So we talk about what they wear as costume. We do.
I love that, and that always stuck out to me because we tell people, dress for the job you want, not the one you have.
Exactly.
So you always have to be forward thinking. And I think what I was most impressed by is that either they write skits or affirmation statements, or and then at the graduation ceremony, they, and you look at young people that came in and the transformation that happens within that program.
Absolutely.
And the families are there.
Oh my God,
and they're all dressed up. I just absolutely love it.
Absolutely. The students feel so much confidence because in addition to resume writing, public speaking, we also teach them mock job interviews. We work on presentation skills. And sometimes, you might have a script and you might forget what you're saying, but you know what you want to say, so you can keep speaking to your audience. The young people really appreciate it, and they always tell me, they send me notes after they graduate, and they thank us, and they say how much the training really helped them.
And how long, so you mentioned that there was 3 core programs. Yes. So the one that it's a year round?
Well, the Connect Us Academy is February to mid-May. Okay. With a formal graduation, the students get plaques.
If you haven't seen it, you have got to go and see it, because it's just absolutely
And what's
wonderful.
really important, we don't look at grades. Usually programs like this, they look at grades. We don't. Because you can't tell how smart someone is or how motivated they are just by their grades. They might not be good in school, or they might not be good at memorizing things. So it's very self-selective. So young people come for an interview, and we are just eager to work with young people who want to be part of the program.
And I've seen your team
Yes.
working with them, which some of them used to be peers, right?
Absolutely.
So they used to be in the program, and now they're helping you with leading the program.
Absolutely. Oftentimes when students graduate from the Connect Us Academy, they join our youth leadership team, and they come back and volunteer. Our Martin Luther King Day show usually has about 30 volunteers. They're usually all graduates from our program or part of the youth leadership team. So it's really beautiful.
It's wonderful. And that's an event that you do each year, right?
Yes, the Martin Luther King Day show is annual. We call it Bridgeport Has a Dream, Building Bridges Across Fairfield County. So we have young people from the Greater Connecticut Youth Orchestras, we have young people from Neighborhood Studios, young people from the Klein, and a host of other partners.
And Klein is your partner, right?
Yes.
Because that's where you do the
That's right.
shows and things like that?
That's right.
So since we're going to go into the Martin Luther King show, but I want to show a little video of your last performance.
Okay.
And you do it every year, right?
Yes, we do.
So we definitely want to have a conversation about how youth participate, how your community partners participate,
Okay.
How other people in various careers can participate.
Sure.
So let's roll the video.
Okay. Good afternoon and welcome. We're here to celebrate the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. That's right. That's right. We want to honor his legacy. He is one of the greatest American heroes that we have. He really is. After his death, I think people only began to realize how radical he was and that he was fighting. That's right. Fighting for social and economic justice for all. That's right. He put out a call in 1968, and he's putting out that same call now for everyone to stand up against injustice, that we need to end poverty in this country, and that we need to do something about the unhoused. And we need to relate to people who are fleeing climate change throughout the world, fleeing war-torn areas, and we need to relate to them as human beings. People who are trying to come here and figure out the best way to support human beings throughout this world as we're dealing with some unprecedented events. We saw what happened in California. That's what's happening throughout the world. My name is Pam Lewis, and I'm the Executive Director of Connect Us.
You know, I'm looking at that, and I've been at your performances before, you know, and it's really about making sure that you're connecting with the history.
That's right.
You're telling a story, and you're empowering people to find their own voice within that advocacy and within finding themselves and how to fight for racial justice. Mm-hmm. Tell me, so what was happening in how did you get to that performance this year?
Well, it's so moving. Well, we had a show. We always have a show in the fall, and then we invite the young people who are part of that show to be part of our Martin Luther King Day show. Mm-hmm. And then you ask the young people, you talk to them about King, who he was, and you talk about the history of that time and what's going on now. And I ask them, what would you like to do to dedicate? What kind of performance would you like to do to dedicate to King? And one young woman, you saw her in the picture, she was really young, she had her fist up, her name is Isabella Rios. Isabella Rios, and she's been in our program since she was like 7 or 8. Wow. She's 12 now. And she decided to sing I'm Changin' from Dreamgirls. And I said, Isabella, tell me why you chose that song. And he says, well, you know, King was bullied. You know, he was told, you know, you shouldn't do this or called names. And she said that she's been bullied in school. So she decided to sing I'm Changin'. She sang that song so powerfully, and she threw off her cape, and everybody stood up.
I love
and
that.
at one of the rehearsals, everyone said, let's end the show with Isabella singing that song. And usually you try to end the show with a fast-paced song, but she was so powerful, this 12-year-old.
Oh my God! And you usually record and take pictures, right?
Oh yeah.
Where can we find
They can go.
this year's
You can
show?
go on our website. You know, connectusct.org. Connectusct.org.
And you always have pictures.
Oh yeah,
and-
there's going to be lots of pictures and the videos there. Yes.
So tell me, how did you get started in this work?
Well, thanks for asking, Carmen. I mean, I studied theater. I'm from Kansas. I'm from the Midwest.
Kansas, I saw something with the
Exactly, right? And I graduated with a degree in theater, and I came to New York City, and I got to New York in the mid-'80s. It was the height of the crack epidemic. Our young people were being blamed for crime, for the poverty, for the drugs in the community. And I was so upset about that. Hip hop was just starting, and a lot of people, a lot of educators and adults didn't like it. They said it wasn't really music. So I decided to get involved with a nonprofit, and we started producing talent shows. And producing talent shows all over New York City, Brownsville, Bed-Stuy, East New York, South Bronx, Mott Haven projects, Queens, Far Rockaway, Jamaica, Queens,
God.
The Bronx, everywhere. And we just, in Staten Island, and we had shows, and we didn't censor. Because I wanted the kids to come out and make their statement about who they were. And it was beautiful. At the height of the work I did there, we sometimes had like 250 kids, over 1,000 people would come to the show.
That's amazing.
It was beautiful. Thousands and thousands of young people participated. And that's how I got my start. And then I started working with the business community, asking them to lean in and invest. And so, I told them, look, our kids want to learn, they want to grow. So I asked them to give internships. And so I had JP Morgan doing like 30 plus internships, MetLife. And so we're doing that same work right here now in Bridgeport.
So what brought you to Connecticut?
Well, I was working for a nonprofit, and I was a national organization. I was vice president of youth programs, and we expanded here in Bridgeport. And then we were doing really well. And then they decided that they wanted to focus on their larger markets, Dallas, New York City, Chicago, and I didn't want to leave Bridgeport. A lot of people start things in Bridgeport and then they leave. And I didn't want to be one of those people. I'd made lots of promises about what I was going to do, and I wanted to keep those promises.
I just think that just absolutely amazing. So I know that you mentioned that your team members are volunteers. So let's talk first about how does a young person that wants to, elevate, that wants to learn more, that wants to be involved, how do they connect with your program? How do they connect to your program?
Well, they can go on our website, of course, and again, that's connectusct.org. For our youth leadership team, that program meets every Tuesday. And you can miss sometimes, you can even be late. We have lots of conversations. Today we were talking about the debt ceiling. Sometimes we're talking about the supply chain. Obviously a lot about Black History Month. We were talking, building up to that and learning about the history of the Civil Rights Movement. Learning who's Dolores Huerta. Who is she? What did she do? And we have lots of conversations about what's going on in the world. And And you can join that program just by showing up. You can.
So they don't have to go to your website, they can just come?
Yeah, they can just come. They
can come. Where are you meeting? All right, you heard it here.
That's
where
right.
Are you meeting?
855 Main Street, every Tuesday, 3:30.
Okay.
And then for our Connect Us Academy, they need to go on our website and apply. And we will reach out and have a meeting. For the See You on Stage, for our talent show program, we have auditions. And everybody makes it. You can sing.
We're not one to gossip.
You can sing every note off key, and you can still make the show. Isn't that beautiful?
And I think because you empower them and they're practicing over time.
Yes, and you see the growth. And it's not about the talent. It's about giving young people a stage to make their statement about who they are. And I think that's so important. And having other young people support each other.
I've been at the show where everybody's like cheering for each other, and you have them go all in the line. I just think it's wonderful. So if somebody wants to get involved, so before I go, I'm sorry, because my mind is like,
it's
really,
okay.
Do you have a partnership with like the schools? Do they need to be in school, or they just need to be a certain age?
Well, again, the Connect Us Academy is 16 to 21. So you don't have to be in school to apply.
They can be in college.
That's
or
right.
be done with school.
Our youth
or whatever.
leadership team, 15 to 25, absolutely.
Okay. And then in your leadership team, which I'm referring to staff and volunteers.
Yes.
How does somebody, if they wanted to, what kind of supports do you need? I mean, every program needs money, so unfortunately I can't give you a picture about that. But what are other ways that just to give you a little backstory, I did a small business survey project on the east side of Bridgeport. And I physically spoke to 61 businesses and did a survey. And most said that people don't engage them in anything other than asking for money. So I would love to hear from you. What are ways that individuals can support your organization, be involved in your organization, beyond just the money, which we all need, but just beyond the money?
One of the things that I found so helpful with all of our community partners is helping to get the word out. That's really key. So for the auditions that we do in the fall, a lot of kids don't know about See You on Stage. And they would love the idea of being able to audition and know that they're going to be supported. Because so often kids are booed or they're judged. So one way people can help is to help get the word out. Let young people know that this is a place they can come and they can make mistakes, they can try out new things, and they're going to be supported. Because how you grow is sometimes you make mistakes. When kids are learning how to walk, they fall down.
Adults too.
That's right. When they're learning how to speak, they put words together funny. We applaud them. Why not do that with young adults? Give them a chance to learn how to interview, to learn public speaking.
To connect to individuals in the career ladder that maybe they want to achieve.
Exactly. And the other thing that people can help me do is I need to build more partnerships. We have great partnerships with JP Morgan in Greenwich. They come to us because the traffic pattern doesn't work. Bridgewater, Barnum Financial, Pullman and Comley. We need more businesses to lean in and lead workshops, take interns, and give money. but we mainly need the workshops and the internships. We really do. So that's a way people can help.
And when we talk to businesses, they talked about how they would love to share their story or leverage something. Maybe they have a meeting. We have a meeting and we do it at a local restaurant where we're supporting that restaurant. Or just asking them to be speakers. So I implore you that if you're someone that has an interest in working with young people, not only to connect us, go in our community. How many different programs do we have that work with youth?
Oh, yeah.
And people all the time say, there isn't anything that, and you brought up a good point, is that there are a lot of resources, we just don't know where they are. So we need to be connecting.
We do.
In a lot of different ways.
We do.
And we've got a caller, Ms. Pam. We are a live show.
Okay.
Thank you for calling Connecticut at your service. You have a question for Ms. Pam?
Hi, yes, I love what Connect Us is doing. I was wondering if you know what programs or what activities you guys plan to implement in this upcoming year.
Sure.
Great
question.
We
have our youth leadership team that meets on Tuesdays from 3:30 to 5, and anyone can go on our website and sign up, and then we'll be in touch with you. We also will have our fall talent show. We'll have an audition in the fall, and we'd love to have any young people that come out and audition. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram and also LinkedIn, Connect Us CT. And but I mainly am interested if we can have some young people, 15 to 25, join our youth leadership team and come out and audition for our talent show. That'd be fantastic. And the talent show program, by the way, is 5 to 25. So it's intergenerational.
We're too old.
I am.
Although you're on stage.
Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much.
Oh, very good.
Thank you so much, caller, and keep watching.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So we talked a little bit about the program. We watched a video. I know a little bit about how you started. All of us that do work where we serve the community, we do that with the support of our, my husband will tell you all the time, he's like my first volunteer. I have him load the car, all this kind of stuff. So who in that area supports you? Who's your circle of support that says, Pam, we could do it. We don't have this or that. You know what? We're going to work it out.
Well, what's funny? I'm going to answer this question a little differently. So one thing is work is very personal. There's so many towns in this country like Bridgeport, so many cities. My mother is from Massillon, Ohio.
Okay.
And I remember going to visit my grandparents and my cousins when I was younger. And I remember at one point, it's not fun anymore. And what I didn't know as a child is that industry left. And so many of my family members lost their jobs. People were dying. There was shootings. Family members were shot. People were dying of drugs. I won't get into specifics because it's actually very, very sad.
Yeah.
But
and it's happening here.
Exactly. So it's very, very personal. I did not grow up in Bridgeport, but I did. My family did. And so it's very personal. So, my mother and father, they're not with me, but they're with me. And the young people, watching them develop as leaders is so powerful. It makes you get up every day to see them. To see a young person who was stuttering every other sentence and every sentence and get up on stage at the Martin Luther King Day show and see them make their statement and see them only stutter twice, even though they had a whole page of a statement. And to see young people find their voice, as you said. Find their voice and feel proud and feel connected to history. We have people in this country who don't want kids to learn history. It's very important. People need to understand when they look out in their community what happened. What is the industrialization of the country, and then what happened in deindustrialization? What is that?
And what's your place in it, and how do you want to change it?
That's right, and be connected to it, and have a sense that you want to be giving. There's a way that you can contribute to society, that you have something to give. When you grow up poor in this country, you're related to as if you have nothing to give. And one of the first things I ask the students is, what do you plan to give? And they have so much to give.
If you make me cry, Ms. Pam, we're going to have some problems. I love your passion and your vision, and I could feel the honesty and the authentic heart that you have. And this show is about people like you.
Thank you.
I feel a moment, so oh my God. And this is, we could do a show about whatever. We could do the news about all the things that are happening bad in our community. I chose not to do that.
Yes.
This is about people that are making a difference in
That's right.
their everyday life. I see you talking with everybody. I see you work in a room, and you know all the families, you know all the youth that are coming in through your program, and you're creating opportunity where maybe there wasn't one. Sometimes it's hard to change the dynamics without having individuals young people and adults alike, that are seeing that there's opportunities, that there's ways for us to use our voice and to work together and leverage what we have instead of competing with each other.
Oh, yeah.
This show is about individuals like you.
Thank you, Carmen.
And I would love, we have a few minutes, but I would love, so thank you for sharing that about your family, because I really felt it was authentic. About what is the advice that you can give to our community and to our young people about just engaging and participating in life?
I think about development. Development spreads. When you support young people's growth, it impacts their whole family. It impacts their siblings, because their siblings see them. They're like, well, I want to be like so-and-so. I also just think we have to be patient with our young people and know that development is not linear. A lot of times, I'm not a parent myself. I haven't had kids, but I've helped to grow and help support a lot of kids.
Program.
And one thing I know is that development isn't like this. Development has backflips, it jumps to the side. And a lot of the things that we help to support our young people in, and we help to teach them and support them, they hear it. They may not be, you might not think they're listening, they may not be nodding, but they hear it. And don't give up on our young people, and don't give up on the young adults, because it's really important. Because a lot of times we say, let's focus on the children. The young adults, what are you going to do with that knucklehead? That you can reinitiate development in our young people.
And I think it's almost as important is that what's the expectation?
That's right.
Like, listen, I had a guest on here, I can't remember if it was this show or the prior show, that their whole mission was about wherever you are, leave the place better than you found it. Doesn't you, yourself, your family, that it just kind of snowballs. We do this thing at my job at the workplace, where it's called Feel Good Friday. So we've shared your show, we've told people, we asked them to, because we feature it every Friday. And just like you were saying about how you can make a difference in the lives of other people, there was a thing that I can't take credit for. I saw it on Facebook, but it was an individual that was yellow, like they had a light, right? and how your light can become infectious, right? You go into a group of people and everybody's like negative and questioning, but you're the positive one,
Yes.
you're the one that's the engaging one. And little by little, that circle now has a brighter light because people are working together. And I see that, and you do that in a very fun and creative way.
It should
that
be fun.
doesn't feel like work.
Learning should be fun.
It really doesn't.
There's no
I'm like, when can I get over there?
Thank you.
I
No, it should be
think it's
fun.
wonderful.
No, we were talking about the debt ceiling today. Do you know how dynamic that conversation was?
Share a little bit. We got a minute.
Well, the young people learning about money and how it works. A lot of times we don't talk to them about that. We talk about financial literacy and them getting a checking account and things like that. But what is money? You know, what's debt? What's equity? What's a stock? What's a bond? How could we be going into debt? How could we spend more money than we have? So the young people, they like hearing about this stuff. They like learning about it.
And they have great questions.
They do. They do.
And they forward it.
They do. And we spend also time talking about how our government works and the fight for democracy and what it looks like in this country and what it looks like in other countries. And they love learning about this stuff. Young people really enjoy learning history.
I just think that you're so dynamic. Let's put on here. Tell us how they reach you, Miss Pam.
Okay, so they can call us, or they can call me at 203-864-9129. That's 203-864-9129. And our website is connectusct.org. And that's connectusct.org.
Now, you co-founded it and brought it here?
Yes, I'm the founder.
Okay,
Yeah.
amazing. I know that you were the leadership of it.
Oh, thank
and I
you.
know you've done so much with it, with the people that are
Yes.
kind of like in your circle. So we have just about 2 minutes, Miss Pam.
Okay.
So is there anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to, tell us a little bit more about? We have about a minute.
Well, I just want to give a shout out to the youth leadership team that produced our Martin Luther King Day celebration, and to all the young people who were part of it, and also to the audience. The audience was so dynamic. There was so many young people there, and it was just beautiful. The young people were yelling out and calling response to some of the performers. It was so much fun. But I just feel like the audience was so dynamic. The young people were very, very powerful. And our youth leadership team, you guys did a great job, so shout out to you. Great job.
And you said that at the Klein this year, it was like pre-COVID, right? You had
Oh my
like
God,
over
we had 600
600
people there. It was just beautiful. It was beautiful. It was very powerful. And shout out to Lawrence Queso, the executive director.
Absolutely.
And shout out to you, Carmen,
Oh, well,
for
thank
all
you.
the work that you do in our community and all the young people that you help to grow. And I really appreciate you inviting me on the show today.
Listen, we were talking before that we've been trying to connect for 6
We
months
have, we
to
have.
get you here. I hope that all of you in the audience see what just an extraordinary program this is, that we're helping young people to find their voices. We're helping young people be the leaders we need them to be, and to take a look at our community in a way that is supportive, inclusive, and full of opportunity. So thank you, Ms. Pam, for being here. And for all of you that continue to watch, that call in to ask questions of our callers, I can't thank you enough. This show was born out of just wanting to feature the greatness that individuals bring. Sometimes it's their job, sometimes it's just their volunteer efforts or their creative vision. I want to thank each of you for participating. I want to thank the crew over at Soundview Community TV, and we'll see you here next week. Follow us on YouTube and watch the show.